In the heart of every collector's dream lies the thrill of discovering something extraordinary hidden in plain sight. Among the countless coins that pass through our hands daily, one small copper piece from the United States has fascinated hobbyists, historians, and treasure hunters alike. It is none other than the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that continues to capture attention not only for its place in American numismatic history but also for the remarkable values it has achieved when crossing the auction block. To truly understand the significance of this penny, we need to journey back to the early 1980s. The United States Mint was undergoing a period of transition, experimentation, and change. Inflation had been steadily rising in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and the cost of raw materials, including copper, was climbing rapidly. By 1982, it became more expensive to manufacture a 1-cent coin out of pure copper than the coin itself was worth in circulation. The mint knew something had to change, and 1982 became the defining year in which the traditional copper cent was officially replaced with a lighter and less expensive alternative, zinc-coated with copper plating. For decades, the penny had been struck primarily in a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gave the coin its familiar reddish-brown tone and made it relatively heavy for its size. But beginning in 1982, the mint shifted toward a coin made of 97.5% zinc, covered by a thin layer of copper. This change brought the weight of the penny down from 3.1 grams to just 2.5 grams. It may seem like a small adjustment, but for a nation striking billions of cents every year, the savings in metal costs were monumental. However, this was not a straightforward, overnight change. During 1982, both copper and zinc cents were produced as the mint gradually phased out one composition and introduced the other. This created multiple varieties of the 1982 penny: large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, and small date zinc. Some were struck with mint marks from Denver or San Francisco, while others carried no mint mark at all, designating them as coins from the Philadelphia Mint. This is where the story of the 1982 no mint mark penny becomes especially fascinating. Collectors quickly realized that there were at least 7 recognized varieties of the 1982 cent, and each had its own quirks, subtleties, and mysteries. Among them, the no mint mark versions, those produced in Philadelphia, became some of the most sought after, particularly the ones in pristine condition. Imagine for a moment the typical life of a penny. It jingles in pockets, slides across counters, tumbles into jars, and circulates endlessly for decades. Very few survive without scratches, wear, or discoloration. That's why high-grade examples of coins like the 1982 no mint Mark Lincoln cent are so rare. When a coin appears in exceptional condition, preserved with its original luster and sharp details, collectors will pay extraordinary prices to add it to their collections. But the allure of this coin doesn't rest solely on condition. The transition year of 1982 also led to fascinating minting irregularities. Because the U.S. Mint was simultaneously striking both copper and zinc cents, errors and mix-ups became more likely. This has kept collectors busy weighing, measuring, and studying 1982 pennies for decades. The difference in weight is the easiest way to tell whether a coin is copper or zinc. Copper cents weigh about 3.1 grams, while zinc cents come in lighter at 2.5 grams. For collectors, even a scale becomes part of the treasure hunt. Another detail that excites enthusiasts is the date style. 1982 pennies were produced with both large date and small date designs. The differences may seem subtle to the untrained eye, but to collectors, these variations represent important distinctions in rarity and value. The small date version, in particular, carries a mystique of being harder to find, especially in higher grades without a mint mark. Over the years, stories of collectors finding valuable 1982 pennies in their change have circulated widely, fueling the dream that anyone could stumble upon a fortune in their pocket. From children searching through piggy banks to seasoned hobbyists combing through coin rolls from the bank, the hunt for this penny has become almost legendary. There's something magical about the idea that such a small piece of copper, or zinc, could carry such enormous potential. As we dive deeper into this coin's significance, it's worth appreciating the artistry and symbolism that surrounds it. The obverse of the penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, has featured President Abraham Lincoln since 1909, commemorating the centennial of his birth. Lincoln's profile is familiar to every American, a reminder of his leadership and legacy. The reverse of the 1982 cent still bore the image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., designed by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely, you can even spot a tiny representation of the Lincoln statue between the pillars, an incredible detail that many overlook. This combination of artistry, historical context, and minting experimentation makes the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln cent a standout among modern coins. It is not just a piece of currency, it's a time capsule from a moment of change in America's economic and numismatic history. Collectors value this penny not only for its composition and design but also for what it represents: the end of an era of copper coinage and the beginning of something new. In this way, the 1982 penny serves as a bridge between the past and the present, a small artifact that tells a much larger story. Auction records provide the most dramatic evidence of this coin's importance. When pristine examples appear for sale, collectors eagerly compete, driving prices higher than anyone might expect for such a common denomination. The irony, of course, is that billions of 1982 pennies were minted, yet only a tiny fraction survive in the kind of immaculate condition that commands serious money. Think about it. How many times have you ignored pennies in your change, tossing them aside or leaving them in a jar? Most of us would never think twice about them. But for the trained eye, that simple penny could be a golden opportunity. This is the kind of excitement that keeps numismatics alive and thriving, generation after generation. One of the most exciting parts of collecting the 1982 no-mint mark penny is the thrill of discovery. Enthusiasts often spend hours examining coins under magnification, weighing them on scales, and comparing date styles. They search for varieties, errors, and die cracks, small imperfections in the minting process that make certain coins unique. Some errors, like doubled dies or off-center strikes, can make a coin even more valuable. The detective work involved turns coin collecting into an adventure, where history, science, and treasure hunting all merged out. What's especially fascinating is that many valuable 1982 pennies are still out there, waiting to be found. Unlike coins from centuries ago, which are largely locked away in collections and museums, modern rarities like the 1982 cent continue to circulate. That means the next great discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now, unnoticed, until you take the time to look closer. As we reflect on the legacy of the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, it becomes clear why it has achieved such recognition among collectors. It is not merely a cent, it is a symbol of change, a product of economic necessity, and a reminder that history can be held in the palm of your hand. From its copper to zinc transformation to its subtle date varieties, this coin offers endless fascination to those who care to look deeper. And perhaps the most compelling part of this story is the value. For a coin that began life as a humble cent, intended to be spent without a second thought, the heights it has reached at auction are astonishing. Collectors have paid thousands of dollars to secure these rare, high-grade examples, forever enshrining them as treasures of modern American coinage. So the next time you come across a penny, don't dismiss it as mere pocket change. Take a moment to inspect the date, the mint mark, or lack thereof, and the overall condition. You never know when you might stumble upon a piece of history worth far more than its face value. Because when it comes to the world of numismatics, even the smallest coin can tell the biggest story. And as for the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, the value that has stunned collectors and ignited imaginations is an extraordinary $16,373.